weekly episode here at the REI Freedom Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Beeland, and today we have another great guest. As we always do, before we get into our great guest today, just want to say thank you for listening to the show. It's really surreal how often people keep telling me, "Oh, I've been listening to your show. I've listened to every single episode." I'm like, I had no idea how many people are listening and continue to grow with listeners. Um, I'm really thankful for all of you. I'm glad you guys are getting value out of this podcast and that we're getting a great following. Never really thought that'd be a thing, but it's turning out to be a thing. And it's really fun and exciting. And, listen, I know it isn't because you guys listening to me because I can't even talk right articulately. It's because of guests like we're bringing on today. And I'm really excited to share his story. Today is the road to living life on your own terms through real estate investing with Wendell Butler. Let me tell you a little bit about this guy. He is young, but he is a badass dude, and I'm really excited. So, Wendell Butler is a full-time real estate investor and the owner of Hammerhead Capital Inc., where they focus on a wide range of real estate investing strategies from single family, fix and flips to multifamily syndications. He is currently focusing on building out a systematic fix and flip branch of his business to create active income where he then can continually adding to his multifamily portfolio while also providing other investors with opportunities to work with him and create long-term wealth. Wendell resides in Charlotte, North Carolina, where you'll see me, yours truly, in May doing a presentation down there at the REIA. So I hope you guys can get a chance to see my speaking events there. But he's in Charlotte, North Carolina, has a hound dog named Presley. Love that. Loves traveling and preaches to live an active lifestyle through fitness, just like Shelly and I do. I love that. Wendell's why? Well, it's to be able to live life on his own terms, help other people achieve their financial wealth and freedom, and reach the point that he can continuously, see, I told you I wasn't good at talking, make positive financial impact in his communities that he lives in. Wow, great bio. Great having you on the show today. Wendell, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm excited to talk a little shop about just real estate and mindset and just trying to live life on your own terms.
Yeah, let's go, bro. Let's go. Before you get into all of your knowledge, let's give a little backstory of who you are and how you got here today.
Absolutely. So when I was born, I just started investing in real estate. No, I'm kidding. So uh, a little backstory. I originally was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Lived here for about 2 years, and then slowly moved my way up to the New England area because my parents kept getting job promotions and they were doing really well. So they moved closer to the New England area, and I just followed, obviously, because where am I going to go? So I lived in New England for most of my life. That is why you'll start hearing kind of my mass whole accent coming out a
I
little
can
bit.
hear you sound just like me. People are like, whose talk is it? Jeremy? Is it Wendell? I can't tell.
Yeah, and when I have like a one beer, it just comes out even more, to be honest. So,
Same here.
um, yeah, but yeah, I grew up in the New England area most of my life. The Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. I kind of hopped around those states a bit. Um, but when I was there, I didn't always want to do like real estate investing. I never even thought about doing real estate investing. I actually wanted to be a physician assistant, so get into the medical field. Um, and that's what I went to college for. That's what I was in the military for as well. I was a medical officer in the military, and I just like started, I don't know, getting hours for medical because you had to get like certified nurse assistant type stuff after college. Accumulate enough hours to apply for physician assistant school, and I applied for physician assistant school, got into a few, but then I was like, do I really enjoy school? I like sat down and I was like, do I enjoy what I'm doing right here? Do I want to go to school for another 3 years when I basically just complained about my classes for the past 4 years and have this license hanging over my head, like a physician assistant's license, basically saying like you have to do this job now. Like you did this whole stretch of schooling, 7 years plus, and you're making a good salary now. Like this is what you got to do. And I kind of had like I call it a quarter life crisis where around like 25, 26, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do school anymore. So I'm going to take a little hiatus to Miami, Florida, which is like a perfect place to go for your quarter life crisis, right? But I didn't just go there to like have fun and party. I had some entrepreneurial friends there, doing their own thing, making their own e-commerce type businesses and stuff like that. And I was like, they're making money and they look like they're having fun and they're doing it their own way. So I'm like, let me go check this out. So shorts, make the story more short. I was in Miami for a year, got introduced to a lot of entrepreneurs that were just doing stuff on their own. And I was like, holy smokes, you can make money like without getting like a normal job. Um, I was like, there's so many ways to make it. It's a little scary, but it's risky, but like these
Yeah.
guys are doing it. So that's when I started reading more about real estate, started listening about like Bigger Pockets podcast. I started listening to, speakers talk about real estate, reading books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Brandon Turner's books, things like that. And I'm like, this doesn't sound so complicated. Um, and that's when I kind of decided to not yet jump into real estate because I was pretty broke. I was living paycheck to paycheck in Miami. I was bartending, living the Miami lifestyle,
Yeah,
which is
Miami's not cheap.
it is not cheap. And like it's not even like it was way cheaper when I was there.
Yeah.
Now, imagine I can't even imagine doing it now because it doubled. Everything doubled. Um, so I would probably be on the streets if I was there right now. But but yeah, I started getting into real estate, and that's when I was like, I'm not ready to take the leap yet because I don't have any money. So I was like, I'm gonna set my path to continue learning about real estate and use job opportunities to do that. And that's when I became like a loan officer, conventional loan officer. I figured if I learn all about the lending side of things, that's gonna give me an upper hand when I eventually do want to get into real estate and like invest and do real estate type stuff. So I worked that job for about 3 to 4 years. COVID occurred. It was during COVID, so like it was. I learned so much. It was like drinking from a fire hose because like there was so many loans just going on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it was insane. But then that quickly stopped because rates just shot up.
Yep.
And at that point, I was like, I don't really enjoy just talking rates with people. Like every single call was like, "What's the rate? What's
Right.
the rate?" And I'm like, well, let's try to like think about it in different ways. And I was trying to niche into house hacking, helping people house hack, things like that. I was already thinking about like building people's wealth through real estate, even though I haven't really done it myself yet. Um, and then that's when I started thinking about doing private lending a little bit, like talking to more investors. And at the same time, that's when I started, purchasing my own real estate as well, which I bought a condo and a house hack and started very small. But um, that's when I took a leap into private lending as well. Learned about investor type loans, and that's where I learned a lot, like a lot, because I was looking at 20 deals a day, and like telling people yes and no, this would work, this won't work, and that set me up to then be super confident to then go out on my own, and I accumulated enough, wealth and money from doing my side real estate investments as I was doing that, and took the leap, and now I'm just doing my own thing in real estate, and excited and just pumped to keep growing.
Well, we're pumped to hear your story and share some of your insights today. Um, Wendell, how old are you?
I am 30.
You're 30 years old. There's a lot of people at 30 years old that wish they were doing what you do. There's a lot of people at 40 years old is where when I started my real estate career, wish I was doing what you do, and people even much older. Um, you know, as you're telling me your story, there's a few things that spoke out. First of all, you being in the military, thank you for your service. As another veteran, I know we talked offline, but I think it's really important that you recognize in the recording of the episode because it's one thing to say, hey, thank you for your service, but you know, military is not easy. I know what it's
No.
like, and it's rewarding in many ways, but you don't get paid very well, even as a commissioned officer sometimes. And the fact that you made a commissioned officer is pretty impressive in itself. But you realize that wasn't the road for you, and then you started to get into you know um, the, the loans and all this stuff. And obviously 2020 was a great market in real estate, although the world was crazy then.
Hmm.
You weren't even starting in real estate investing. And then all of a sudden the interest rates spike up, which was the fastest increase in interest rates in history, really, right? We've
Hmm.
never seen anything like that. Most people were like, I'm out. I'm not getting into real estate. I'm not going to get into real estate when the interest rates are this high. This is crazy. How can you make money? I'm never going to do real estate investing unless they go back into the twos and threes, right? and everybody panics. Anytime there's a big shift in the market, like COVID or, or the interest rates, people are afraid to take action, but not you. You weren't afraid to take action. When other people are saying, no way, Jose, to real estate investing, you're like, I'm going in. I don't care
Yeah.
what the interest rate's in. I'm going in. I'm going to house hack and I'm going to stop buying properties during a time when most people were going out of business. I saw companies that were like doing flipping and everything else were wiped out, and you're diving in. That's a pretty ballsy move.
Yeah, and I would say that one accounts to the military for one, because like in the military they kind of teach you to just keep running forward. Like don't you wear the
Okay.
flag on your arm and it's backwards, and people ask like, why is the flag backwards? It's because when you run forward, the flag waves backwards, so you're always moving forward, and that's what they preach to you in the military. Um, and then I always go back to like a quote by uh, Warren Buffett when he's like, when people are scared, like be greedy, or when people are greedy, like be a little
Yep.
hesitant.
Yep.
And I always use that as like kind of like in my mind of, if people are not getting into it, that's probably the best time to get into it, because you're gonna ride that wave when people do start getting into it as well. If you purchase during hard times. And then another thing too, I've just always looked at situations and tough situations as like, hey, I'm just gonna learn a lot from this. Like if I fail, cool, I'm learning from it, and it's just gonna make me a better person overall and build thick skin. And from just talking and networking with people in real estate, they always, you see the things online, social media. Everybody's like, "Woo, I just made this much money. Woo, it's so easy." It's like that's so fake. It's hard. Real
It
estate's
is
pretty
hard.
hard, and you
It's
go to,
simple, but it's
yeah,
hard.
yeah, it's pretty simple. Like you break it down, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But it like emotionally, you know, uh, mathematically, like everything's like pretty hard to like look into things and make the right choices and take the risks in some scenarios. And just networking and talking to a lot of investors, they would just like telling me about the wave of real estate. Like it's always
Right.
up and down and up and down and up and down.
Correct.
And they were buying. Like they're
Yep.
like, hey, I'm just gonna keep buying because I know that it's gonna come back to good times, and I'm
Yep.
gonna ride that wave up.
Yep.
And yeah, again, I was just like, hey, this is probably one of the harder markets. Like if I don't do it now, what am I gonna do? Like wait like
Yep.
3 years, 4 years to get into it, and then I got time against me. Um, so I used it as like a tool for learning. I looked at it like, hey, if I'm going in at the hardest time, it's just going to make me even better in the future as well. So that's kind of like the mindset that I had going into it. And so far, it's been good. I have, I mean, it's still been a hard market. I'm excited for when it like kind of becomes not as insane,
Yeah.
because I've built up like such a understanding of investing now and how to like look at investments, how to negotiate, how to do everything that, you know, when it does become a little bit more quote unquote easier, nothing's easier, but I feel like it's gonna help me in the long run, especially in those situations.
Well, I love that you dove in even at a high time, right? There's no perfect time to jump into real estate, right?
Mhm.
Everybody wants to time the market. It's also, I call it like the unicorn effect, right? Everybody is waiting to get this unicorn. It's like this mythical creature that doesn't exist, right? But I'm looking for the perfect deal, the perfect day to start real estate, the perfect situation. There is no perfect scenario. You just have to just take action, which obviously you've done. You've been learning, but you've been taking action and diving in at a very difficult time. And, they say tough times make strong men and good times make weak men and women,
Mhm.
I don't just people in general, not to be sexist here. But, it's the same with businesses, right? So, myself included, it was easy to make a lot of mistakes in real estate as we rode the wave up from the teens into the early 2020s, right? And 2023, really in 2022 and 2023 really made you have to get better at what you were doing to survive, right? Now we're tough times to get in. You came in a tough time. And if you can make real estate work, then as people said, when it gets easier, now you're going to have all the processes, skill set, and battle wounds of what it takes to make it work in a tough time. And now you're going to transform that into an easy time, and you're going to have way more success than people waiting for the easy time to happen, which may happen, may not happen,
Mhm.
or may not happen anytime soon. And a lot of people are not like you, Wendell. They didn't take the leap. They're listening to this episode right now saying, shit, I wish I took the leap, and I'm still waiting for the perfect time. Now, a few years have gone by and they're still waiting, but you're already a full-time investor within a few years, right? So if you waited, you'd still be working a W-2. You don't work a W-2 anymore. You're a full-time investor.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess that comes with, yeah, just taking a leap, trusting the numbers and just trusting yourself, like betting on yourself too, um, and yeah, I mean, I made a lot of mistakes doing it, but I had just I was very conservative with everything that I was doing, and I still am from today, which helps me limit my losses, and just really kind of balances and makes me have a lot more gains. Um, and there was times, yeah, there's times that I see even today, people that are not really underwriting conservatively and they're getting in trouble. Um, and I'm sure back then, like during COVID, like you were saying, you can make a lot of mistakes and you could still be successful during it. There's so many fix and flippers that I know that were doing it during COVID, that were like flaunting, being like, "Hey, we just bought this property, made like 100K on it, like we're the best." And then all of a sudden, the market shifted, and they're like, "Oh snap, we're like
Yeah.
breaking even on every deal."
Yeah.
It's because the appreciation was so insane, and people were just trying to dump money into real estate. You could like buy a shack, put like paint on it, and then make like a 60K profit. It was
Yep.
ridiculous. But nowadays, you have to really fine tune your processes and fine tune your product and the products that you put out, whether that be, rentals, whether that be fix and flips, whether that be wholesaling, like negotiating good contracts to then wholesale to investors, because investors are going to be a lot more conservative. They're going to need to underwrite a lot more conservative. So you need to do that as well as a wholesaler. You're going to be getting contracts and you won't be able to move it. Um, and yeah, I think it all contributes to just trusting the numbers, practicing again and again, underwriting, like underwrite as many deals as you can, like again and again and again. Just practice, repetition, 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 and be okay with saying no and
Yeah.
getting told no too. Make the offers that make sense. If they say no, don't get emotional about it. Just tell them exactly where you're at and why. Teach them, because like they might come back to you later on too and be like, "Oh, this guy was gonna buy it. I can't sell it at this price. Let's go back to him." And I've had that happen many times. So just trust your numbers, be conservative. Don't get emotional in real estate. The second you get emotional, you start losing money. And I've seen it so many times. But the second you get emotional or attached, or you're like, I just want to beat this guy and outbid them, like I want this property, you're gonna lose money. The second that starts popping in your head, and it still pops into my head. Sometimes I get a deal and I'm like, I love this deal. I'm like, maybe I can go a little bit higher. But I always sit back down and run the numbers, and I'm like, no, no, I
Yeah. Yeah.
can't.
You want to live to buy another deal another day, right? There's always going to be more deals down the road. You don't want a deal to hurt you, and you are going to make mistakes in this industry. They're inevitable, and taking action and all the repetition is so important to everything you just said. Good thing is, real estate, even in tough times, it still can be forgiving. Maybe not as forgiving as it was during COVID, but it's still forgiving for mistakes. And but you have to definitely be a lot more conservative and cautious today than you were then. But again, that allows you to be a better investor long term, which I love. So, you talked about flipping. You talked about burrs. You're getting multifamilies. How are you finding your deals today? Like, we're recording this here December of 2024. You're a full-time investor, a few, a couple years in now. How are you finding your deals, Wendell?
Yeah. So when I first got started, one of the ways that I found my deals, because I really had no idea about anything, like wholesalers, had no idea about marketing. I still am trying to learn about marketing. That's one of my biggest goals of 2025, is to start building up my marketing myself. But a lot of it is just, it's a lot of networking. So I found Facebook groups very helpful, for off market deals. I found wholesalers, but finding good wholesalers and kind of teaching them what you look for and following up with them. And then when they bring you deals, you kind of teach them and coach them, what you're looking for and how to underwrite basically your deals for you, and then they could bring you a deal. Then boom, like it's easy for them because they're like, cool, they're gonna buy it. Um, and then networking events as well, and realtors too. So it's a lot of just drip marketing and just constant outreach to these individuals, and just being creative with with who you speak to and tell all the time like what you do. Like there's so many different ways to get deals. You can talk to probate attorneys, you can talk to um, and just investors, you can talk to property managers, you can talk to wholesalers, realtors. There's everywhere you could find a deal. But the even MLS, you can find deals on MLS too. Like if you go on there, if you go on Zillow and you just look at like the dates, how long properties have been on uh, listed, and like they start growing in numbers, you could probably have some wiggle room there for negotiation. Um, but a combination of all that is kind of how I find my deals currently. I am now working on boosting up my own marketing. So mailers, pay per click, social media ads, things like that. So I can be more direct to the seller. But I would say from the beginning, you don't necessarily have to go all in on marketing yourself. Yes, you're going to get um, probably better returns if you can get direct to seller. But you should also utilize other people to then branch out and help like build your kind of network of um, deal finding as well. Because once you have other people kind of working for you, then deals would just get sent to you every day. Like I get about 20 deals a day sent to me. They're not
Wow.
great. Some of them aren't great deals, but again, that's a repetition of just keep on going through, responding back.
Yeah.
Always respond back to people that send you deals, even if it's an absolute terrible deal. Tell them why, what the numbers are, and where you kind of be at. Kind of give them an idea. That way, you can teach them to then find you a deal that's better and more suitable. But for right now, it all comes from basically networking, telling people every single day what I do, um, post on social media, what I do. You want to let people know what you do because you never know. Like even I've had a friend once from high school that I haven't talked to in 12 years just DM me and be like, "Hey, I have this property my mom's selling. She just wants quick cash for it. She doesn't want to deal with anything. Like, are you interested?" And that was a deal that I almost ended up doing. Um, it's just weird where deals come from, but
Yeah. I
they come
love
from
that.
everywhere. Yeah.
I always say these three things you should be doing. You should always be marketing, you should always be learning, you should always be taking action, right? And obviously you're doing all three of those. And marketing doesn't necessarily need to be like mailing and PPC. It could be just as much as telling people what you're doing out there, right? That's a form of marketing yourself. And with our students in the real estate investing REI Freedom program, especially the newbies, like I want as they start getting deals, I'm like, you need to start putting that out there. Let people know what you're doing because that's going to attract people, right? It's going to attract opportunities. And one other thing you said, I think really shouldn't go unnoticed is get back to everybody. There's a lot of people out there who don't return text messages, phone calls, and emails. And, the people that do are going to continuously get people reaching out to them. It surprises me how many people just don't return messages and they just basically shoot themselves in the foot for opportunities down the road. So nobody's just going to keep sending you messages if you never reply.
Yeah, yeah. Like if I'm a wholesaler and I'm trying to wholesale a deal and someone's responding to me again and
Yeah.
again, like they're showing me that they're interested and they're
Yeah.
trying to buy something. And
Just
I'm
got to be
gonna
the right deal.
yeah, and they're gonna be on top of
Yeah.
my mind. Like I'm gonna want to get them a deal. But
Yeah.
like the guy that I send to every single day and they don't even respond or they just like reply back like no.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
this guy's like I don't want to work with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Business is all about people. So
It is.
being people to people,
I
being
love it.
like treating each other like humans. And the second you keep doing that, I guarantee you like it might take a little bit, but you're going to
Yeah.
start reaping the rewards and you're going to start building just a better network than someone that you know, doesn't
Yeah.
like respond or treat people like humans.
Yeah, it's a scarcity mindset, right? And if you have an abundance mindset, then it's all about collaboration over competition, and you're working with everybody and trying to get everybody involved in the real estate, which is obviously, reading your bio, you're very passionate about helping others in your community. One other question I wanted to ask was, you mentioned early that you didn't get started because you didn't have any money. Apparently, you fell on the money tree because now you're buying real estate left and right. So you're getting all these deals to you, but you obviously have an endless amount of money to just start doing real estate. So you're just buying birds and flips with your own cash these days. Is that how it works?
I have a good lump sum of money of myself that I do put in the deals, but I like to use other people's money as well, and then build partnerships too. Um,
All right, explain more, please. That's what
yeah.
I wanted
So
you to get to.
so you can, I would say, you could get started and start utilizing other people's money right off the bat. I didn't go that route. I found a deal that ended up being just a home run of a deal. You know that quote, like people say, like a deal, it just takes one deal to really change the outlook of your life.
Yep.
And this one deal really did. Um, and it was like an 8 unit property that I found on Facebook. Some guy bought it. He was not a landlord. Like he was just a he was just a I think he was more like a wholesaler, or he just really liked connecting people and making money like that way through real
Yep.
estate, really. But he thought that he could buy this property. It was going to be a quote unquote cash cow and like just run itself.
Infamous
No.
term, cash cow, overused.
Yeah. Yeah. So he started, he bought it, like multiple tenants stopped paying, like a unit flooded. And then he was just like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
He posted on Facebook. I knew the exact building because it was in like an old town that I lived in. And I'm like, holy smokes, like I'm going to purchase that. Like, I'm just going to go for it. Like, I don't have the money, but I'm going to go for it. So I like hit him up and I was just like, hey, I want to buy this cash. Like, I can close like as soon as possible. And I don't know, he he must have just liked my vibe because there was a ton of people reaching out to him too. But I was just like, hey, I know that area. I lived in that town. I want to, get started in real estate. I have this. I can buy this cash. Let's go. And then I was just persistent with it, right?
Yep.
Persistency, creates deals. So I kept hitting him up every single day, like, can we move forward? Can we move forward? Can we move forward? But then I had to figure out like how do I get the cash? Uh, so there's a couple ways you can get cash. You can get it from banks, you can get it from like loans, things like that, or you can use other people's money as well. So I brought this deal to my dad actually, and I was like, "Hey, this is a deal that I think that we could potentially make a good amount of money on." And I underwrote the whole deal. I gave him the whole scope of work and like what we're gonna do. And it was an 8 unit property. I was basically gonna just take over the property, fix up the units, increase the rent, uh, and increase the NOI of the property. Which once you get 5+ units, as long as you increase the amount of money coming into the property, and it can increase the value of the property. You basically force appreciate it. So when I bought it, it was like grossing $30,000 a year in rent, and I was like, I'm like, that's insane. Like I could get this to like $120,000 a year in rent.
Wow.
So short story, to make it shorter. I pitched it to my dad. He was like, "All right, I'll take a chance on you. I know you really want to get into real estate. You've done like little tiny deals here and there before this." So he lent to me. I had a private lender agreement with him, and I just went all in and did it. Ended up buying that property for like 470,000. We put in like $130,000 of work, and basically quadrupled the rent from like 30,000 to like 120,000 a year. And I ended up selling it earlier this year, for like 1,035,000.
Woo!
So I netted about like 360 grand from it,
Wow. Which is probably more
and
than you ever made in the
that
military
is
all combined.
it's probably more than my whole life of working in one deal.
That's awesome.
But
All from a persistent Facebook lead.
but
I
it
love
came
it.
from, yeah, it came from persistent Facebook, and then it came from utilizing like other people's money
Yeah.
because I didn't have that money. So I was
Right.
just going for it. And it's all about just be taking action, finding ways to make it work. If you find a deal that makes sense, someone's going to give you money for it.
Yeah.
And then just executing and executing your plan. And then from then on out, I do buy properties, with my own money if it makes sense, if the returns make sense to me.
Well, now that you have $300,000 in the bank, yeah.
Yeah, because you can start you can start building it, but I still love utilizing other people's money and then also forming partnerships to bring other people in on deals because that one lowers your risk because you have a lot of people in the mix
Yep.
that can spread out the risk amongst the individuals. Two, you're still getting the same returns because if you look at it mathematically, like if you put in $100,000 into a deal and you walk away after all said and done with a 50K profit, if you only put in 50K, you're still going to walk out with 25K if you split it 50-50 with someone else. And that's still percentile, like the same returns.
Yep.
And you don't tie up as much money, so you can do more deals.
Yep.
Um, and that all comes from just, again, networking with people, forming partnerships comes from just getting to know people, forming friendships, showing people what you do again, showing your track record, bringing deals to people that are looking to invest that have money. Maybe they can't find the deals, and then you find the deal and bring it to them and ask them to be a partner on it. Like there's so many ways that you can utilize other people's money, and it's just it comes down to just asking. Like if you don't ask people, you're not going to get anything. So just ask, honestly. And it's like sales, just always ask.
Always ask. Worst they can do is say no, right?
Yeah.
Best thing they can do is say yes. I love that, Wendell. And I was just talking to one of our students earlier today about private lending because she was asking how to get private lending. I mean, you just answered exactly how you find true private lenders, right? Your dad became a true private lender, right? Your dad's probably going to lend on more deals because you gave him a good return. But this is how we find true private lenders. It's not a lending company or hard money lending. You can use that, but in our network we actually know people that have the money, but you have to give them an opportunity, underwrite it, explain it to them, and then really show them how it all works, right? And yes, they're going to lend on the deal. The more importantly, they're going to want to lend on you, right? If they know you and
Mhm.
trust you, they're going to want to lend on you. Again, if you're out there marketing yourself and showing that you know what you're doing, it's going to give people more confidence that, hey, this is an opportunity. And a lot of people love real estate. It's sexy, it's fun, exciting. They watch HGTV, but they don't want to be a landlord. They don't want to swing a hammer, but they have some money that's not really getting many great returns. They just don't really know how to utilize it in real estate yet. And if you can educate them by asking them if they're interested, then you can build these lifelong relationships, which will greatly change both lives, yours in real estate investing, theirs personally as a lender. And I love it. And the other thing before we wrap this up, Wendell, is everything I hear for excuses of why people can't get into real estate investing are all the reasons why you've been successful in real estate investing. You came in at a tough time. You didn't have any money. You went out and found it. You didn't have any marketing. You're finding leads. Persistence creates leads. Great quote there. I mean, you're just making it happen. No excuses. You don't have a ton of knowledge, I mean, you do now, but when you started, you didn't. You knew some stuff, but everything you did, just like the flag on your uniform as a soldier, right, is flying backwards because you're full speed ahead. You're just charging forward, making mistakes, but you're winning a lot more than you're losing. While everybody else is afraid to lose, they stay out of real estate. You're winning like a freaking crazy person because you're taking action left and right, and there's no excuses. You're like doing it, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, thank you for that. It's sometimes I like have to look back and like see where I came from and like what I've done just to like be kind of remember what I've done because you get so like head down into like real estate, you like forget like how, all you've done and you just
Yeah,
want like the next
the
thing.
gap in the game, brother. The gap in the
Oh,
game.
I was gonna mention that book. That book is fantastic.
It's
People should
awesome.
read that
Yeah,
because it's good. It's good. It's a good like resetter of your mind.
100%.
But yeah, I would just say like to people that are just afraid of quote unquote like failing or losing. Like there's no such thing in life. I think uh, there's no such thing as failure in life as long as you just learn a lesson from it. So even if you fail something, quote unquote, fail it, as long as you take something from it, that's a win. Because maybe you do something wrong, but then you're like, okay, I just won't do it that way again, and I'll approach it a different way next time. That's winning because you're building yourself into a better person, a better business person, a better human, period. And that goes with like relationships, that goes with business, that goes with everything. So just don't be afraid of like taking a step forward towards something that you might think is risky. Just go for it because you know we're only on this planet so long too. Like it's
Yeah,
just you gotta
exactly.
you gotta take chances
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes. If
yeah.
you don't take chances, you're not going to really progress. Um, and as long as you're calculated with your risks and calculated with your numbers and really learn as much as you can you, and just keep moving forward, you can't fail. You
Yep.
literally can't fail. The only
I
time you fail is if you sit down and you say I'm done and
Yep.
I'm giving up.
When you quit. Yep. That's the
Yeah.
only time you feel. No risk, no reward. Only time you feel is when you quit. And learning and education is super important, but action trumps everything. You don't want to be one of these people who's going to the monthly REIAs and learning, and 3 years goes by, you never take action, right? So I love that.
Yep.
Great segue. So I'm going to ask you two more questions, and we'll wrap the end of this episode up. As somebody who's now experienced, right, looking back at what you achieved, what would you tell somebody who was in your position 4 years ago, 5 years ago, wanted to get started in real estate, but hasn't yet, knowing what you know now, what was be one piece of advice you'd give them?
I would say one is don't pick something in real estate that you really want to learn about because there's so many ways that you can make money in real estate. Like read as much as you can, learn about all the ways that you can make money and make a business in real estate, but then really focus on one thing and get good at that. Because the second that you start, you know, what's it, shiny object syndrome? Yeah,
Yeah,
second you start getting that, that's huge in real estate because you could be like
it's
focusing.
real.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
you can, and I've gone through it. That's why I
yeah,
really this year I'm past couple months and into next year I'm really focusing just on the fix and flip to get that really good. I'm still doing other stuff, but really focus on that because you could find yourself doing, fix and flipping, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and they're like, I do Airbnbs and I make this much money, and you're like, oh, maybe I should try to do that. And then you go try to do that, and because you're trying to do that, your fix and flips are going worse. And then
yeah,
you're like, oh snap, what's going on over here? You go back to fix and flip. Someone else comes in, they're like, I just bought a multifamily. Look what it's
yeah,
doing. Oh, I should go try that. And then you end up going nowhere because you're
yeah,
just hopping around. So
yeah,
I would say focus on like learn about real estate as much as you can. Find something that interests you really good a lot, and then just focus on that for a few years and get really good at it. Start building a business around that. And then once you feel confident and you have a business that is growing and doing well, that's when you can kind of take a step into other realms of real estate and start growing even more from there. But that's one thing I would tell myself because I've probably wasted a total of like a year, year and a half in my real estate journey from doing that, I would
yeah.
say.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
you and me both, brother. And I think that's great advice. And thank you for sharing that. Gary Keller writes the book, The One Thing, right? And it's just about focusing on one thing, whether that's one marketing channel, one niche in real estate, just get really good at that, become an expert at that before you start going in other directions, because you don't want to be a jack of all trades, a master of none. And the shiny object syndrome is real in real estate. There's a lot of shiny objects. It's hard not to be pulled in many different directions. But as you mentioned, like taking a step back sometimes and realizing, I think we're led to believe like we got to hurry up and do everything now. But this is a journey, a lifetime journey, right? You're probably going to be in real estate the rest of your life on some level. So
mhm.
there's plenty of time to learn those things. As exciting as they are, just master the things that you do now. So great advice. I mean, just bringing it today, Wendell. Last question. We ask all of our guests on this, and we name the show REI Freedom, right? Freedom through real estate investing means different things for different people. Some people, real estate investing freedom, means, I just want to quit my job and flip two houses a year. Some people, it's, I want to own $1 million businesses and scale to 5 billion doors. Some people, it's just about a lifestyle, and more time, like it is for me and my wife, Shelly. What does REI freedom mean to you, Wendell?
REI freedom to me means um, basically having all my time back, create a lifestyle where I can have all my time back to just focus on whatever I want to do, whether that is, hanging out with my family, watching my future kids that I don't have yet grow up, go to like their baseball games, go to their shows. I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have like my 4-year-old kid that's like, are you going to come to like my recital or something? And I'm like, I can't because I have to go to this business meeting. Like I want to have full control of my life that I can basically, I call it like FU money in a way, right?
Yeah,
That if so, I can tell anybody like, no, I'm not doing that time because I have this to do with like my daughter or son, or like have this to do with my wife, or I just want to do this instead. Like I just want to get to the point that money doesn't matter anymore because people say like money is the root of all evil or whatever, which there's some sense that depending how you utilize it and use money, but it can create like the worst out of people. But my thought on it is, if you can create a lifestyle like a financial type freedom through real estate to the point that you can do whatever you want with your life, that's financial freedom to me. And to get really particular, financial freedom to me is like having like a house with a ton of land. I'm away from everybody with just my family, and I'm just chilling on my land, doing whatever I want. That's what I that would be lovely. But
that's
also
amazing.
enough money on the side to create a financial impact in the community as well, because I'm always in for giving back, and I just want to be able to like write a check for like 10 grand, 20 grand to like give it to like some charity or fund within our community to help out with, people that might not be as well off. That would just be amazing.
I love that. Great answer. It's great. Great reason to have REI Freedom, man. I love it. Love it. Love it. So, Wendell, I know you have a podcast yourself. You want to let our listeners know what your podcast is so they can maybe go over there and give that a listen and a subscribe?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I run a podcast too. I actually just had Jeremy on. That's getting edited right now and will be released soon.
Let's go.
Um, and it is called The Real Estate Take. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and it's also on YouTube as well. I'm trying to get in other, you know, podcast things as well, but I'm not too technologically savvy, I would say.
Yeah.
So we're figuring that out. But yeah, The Real Estate Take. I Yeah, check it out. I mean, it's just a podcast just about real estate, and there's a lot of good guests on there. And
Yeah.
Jeremy was on there too, so.
And I a host that you can definitely learn a lot from. So I'd highly recommend going and listen to his podcast. And Wendell, if people want to learn more about you and connect with you, maybe partner up with you or just bring you deals in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, what's the best way for them to find you?
Absolutely. So my there's numerous ways to find me. So one is my website. My website is hhcapitalrealty.com. You can always message me through there. It goes directly to my email, and then I can message you back. My email is just wendell@hhcapitalrealty.com as well. And then my social media is just my name. It's Wendell P. Butler IV because I'm the fourth. And that's basically my social media handle throughout, you know, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can always DM me on there, reach out, and I try to respond to everybody that I can. So, um, yeah,
I love it. Make sure you guys reach out. Wendell, thanks a lot for being on the show today, brother.
yeah, I appreciate having me, and heck yeah, man, let's keep moving towards that REI freedom. I love what you do as well. I'm like part of your Facebook group, and I'm seeing what's going on there, and it's amazing.
I appreciate that, brother. It means a lot. Well, listeners, that's it for this week's episode. A long episode, but man, listen, Wendell was bringing it. There was so much value there. And I feel like we were just chipping at the top, the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that he can provide, which is more reason you should probably go listen to his podcast. But so much value from today's episode. And it's so excited to have a guest like him on. So thanks for Wendell for being on. And listeners, thank you for listening to the show each and every week. Please continue to subscribe. And listen, if you guys want to have any topic you want us to discuss, make sure you reach out to us. But until then, guys, keep taking action, right? As Wendell said, persistency creates deals. So be persistent, go create deals so you can build your own life of REI freedom. See you next week. All right. Rock and roll. Great episode, brother. You were awesome.
Thank you.
You
Yeah. Great show. Great show.
Yeah.
You always bring it as well.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. So yeah, this probably won't be out there.